My relationship with Buddy, like most things in my life, just sort of happens, not planned. I have an ear for Carlene's voice, and I always seem to try and make sure she's in the corner of my eye if she's out and about. I just like to know where she is, because she might need something. So I saw her. Oh, who's stirring? Not to be confused with my stirring of my snowman soup. So I was out doing my stuff, and I saw Carlene had motored over towards the barn. And I started to get out of the cart, get in the cart. So I just wandered over, and I'm like, "Can I help you with anything?" And she said, "I want the donkey out. Go get the donkey out." Huh? I don't have much donkey experience in my life. I had met Mary, but that was about the extent of it. So she's like, "No, get in there, da-da-da-da." So I got in there, and I corralled Laura and Connor and to get him out, because she's like, "He needs to be walked around. I want you to walk him." I'm like, "And around here, you do what she says, and you do what needs to get done." So I'm like, "Okay." So Laura at least has experience with horses. So it took us a while to get him out, but we did, and she's like, "Okay, go take him for a walk." So we wandered over the side of the barn that he is on, the parking lot, and I actually just stood with him. I just stood there while he grazed, and then I took him back in. And that took us a while, and again I had to get the assistance of the youth of SDP, who are amazing. And then I went on and did my laundry and my other activities, and he needs to go out for another walk again. Okay. We did much better that next time. And then again I just took him out, and he stood and grazed, and I stood and pet him. He's really funny. He would go up to the edge of the fence where the dogs were, and they'd sit on the other side, and they would just like, little puppies would just like stare at him, and if we walked the fence, they would walk the fence. They were like parallel walking, and then they would both like I would think they were talking to each other, because they were like nose to nose at the fence. And Carlene had said that Mary would do that, she would like huff a little and such, and that was sort of their way of communicating, which I thought was very sweet. So I started taking a couple hours vacation, so I work closer to here than I live, so I could come over late afternoon and take him out for a bit and give him a little brushing. And it really was very, particularly over the summer, like that around dusk, and the sun's starting to set, and I'm just out there with my donkey Buddy. And it's just very serene and peaceful, and the dogs have eaten, so they're all just kind of chilling out in their kennels, on the outside kennels, and just like staring at us like, "What are you doing?" He loves the chicken coops. I don't know if it's the smell, but he always takes me down to the chicken coops. Has never, tried to get into either the coop or indoor or the outdoor coop. But he always takes me down there. He does like, which has now been cleaned up, there was always just stuff around. And I have to say, he liked to wander through there. And I didn't, because there were snakes. And I'll be honest, I'm a little afraid of snakes. He's very smart. And I've actually learned a lot about donkeys by giving my reports to Carlene after I would take him out. And the few times we went out by the teepee, I was really nervous, because I'm like, "Oh gosh, we're going to get caught in the ropes and blah, 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 and I'll probably end up, teacup over tea kettle in the teepee somewhere." And he just very methodically seemed to wander and not go near the ropes. And Carlene said that donkeys are very different in horses in that respect, in that they really watch where they're going, and they think about what step they're taking next, whereas a horse will just, toddle along. And that when she used to take donkeys into Boston, it would take a while to walk them down the streets because they would see the shadows of the phone lines and whatnot, and they would think it was something on the ground. So they would like look at it and then like walk over it. They would never step on those shadows, which reminded me about the Superdome in New Orleans when I took a tour of that. The the big ramp that just goes round and round like you have in most stadiums was colored, um, like various widths of paint in different colors, and they said that was to make it look more like steps so people would be more careful walking. They wouldn't just trample down. They would actually think about taking the next step because it gave the illusion of being a step. So then the first time Buddy and I went up towards the pond, because usually we stay in the lower area, but he was wandering up there, so I just go. And I'd asked Carlene, what do I do if he gets too fast for me? And, should I have a whistle or something to warn people? And she said, nope, if he starts to go fast, just drop the rope and you'll be fine. And well, you don't have to yell anything, but I've been honest a couple times I have. Donkey! So we went over towards the pond here, which is, if you've been here, is sort of hillish. And so usually there I actually will drop the rope just because it's, the slope and I don't want to fall. But he's funny is, most of the time he stays right with me, almost like my service balance donkey, because I lean on him if we're walking up or down that hilly area. So I think he's been watching Megan's training with the dogs. Which I will say, most of the dogs here, if I'm on the ground, I swear they come over to me like, you need some help to get up. So I'm like ad hoc race training as well. So the furthest I've gone up with him has been in front of the guest house. And I was happy we stopped there because I was afraid if a car came up and the gate opened where he might go. But he really is a delight. He doesn't, Lincoln, I think I thought it scared him a little bit because it seemed like whenever I saw Lincoln come in, he would run out, and then I was reporting to Carlene, and she said, was it in the stall? And I said, yes, if Buddy was in the stall and then Lincoln came in, he like immediately would go out of the stall, and she said, yeah, it's a stall thing. And Buddy can be very fast, in that one time I was putting him back in, and I'm like, I'll grab the water bucket while I'm here. So I didn't close the gate completely because I was going right out with the water bucket. He turned around on a dime and got out. So I report to Carlene, and she said, donkeys are very opportunistic. If they see something, they will do it. And I'm like, oh. Which brings me back to the goats. I don't know if I told you, they escaped. While no one was watching them, because Bud and I were, doing Buddy, all of a sudden they escaped. And I'm not the best goat chaser. I was pretty good. But it was snowy, so I was a little slow. So thankfully, there were people coming down the path, and they kind of corralled them so I could then lead them back to the pen with feed. But yeah, talk about escape artists. And they kept trying to. Anytime someone was near the gate, they would try and get out. So, but yeah, Buddy's a delight. We then moved from the phase because originally we were feeding him with the frying pan at the stall, and then Carlene said to start going to the opposite end of the parking area to make him come out and then feed him. So never did I envision in my life that I would be calling a donkey and that a donkey would come to me, which he did, and then we would feed him down there. And I really feel he knows my voice, because when I get out of the car and if someone's out, you're sort of talking, I swear he hears me and starts braying for me. And if I am running like quickly down the thing I always try and stop and say hi to him when I walk through the barn. But if you're like caught up in something and you don't, he lets me know about it. he lets me know and is not happy about it. But Thanksgiving, when I was shoveling the kennels on his side of the barn, he was outside with the other horse that was here. And so the three of us had a nice long talk on Thanksgiving Day. So I haven't met Tinkerbell yet. And there was even talk of me and someone going to pick him up because they said he could probably fit in the van. Well, the stories I've heard tonight about Janine trying to get him in the trailer, I'm glad that didn't come about because that would probably still be there trying to get him in. But I can't wait to meet him. I think he'll be cute and it'll be nice to have for Buddy to have a little friend. I think Carlene's watching the Nutcracker, which is one of my favorite. I just love the music and the dance as well. And actually, on the Huffington Post today, they had pictures of like the last 50 years in Nutcracker history, and it was beautiful. They had pictures of the Boston Ballet and the Bolshoi Ballet and Nureyev and Baryshnikov and Peter Martins. Really extraordinary. Do I have a favorite dog? My favorite dog is the one who's loving on me at the moment. And I can actually probably honestly say I don't have a favorite. I wanted Opal to be my favorite because she just has the sweetest face. And so she just sort of really intrigued me. But then that Sheila was coming every day and Opal fell in love with her. But no, I don't have a favorite. They're all just wonderful. But probably Bailey just because she's Bailey and was the first one and she really, and I think maybe just because I've also seen her at her lowest points and then to see her rebound is just, the miracle of SDP. But don't tell my dog Scooter Bell, who will not be happy, who's never happy when I come home because she knows I've been cheating on her. And I practically am stripping down the hallway to get my clothes into the laundry basket because she knows I've been with other dogs.